So let's talk about entitled gamers in 2019, because honestly, every time something is announced or something big comes through, people complain, and it's kind of irritating as a gamer myself who loves games and finds most games fun and playable. Now there's some that I do not find fun and playable, but for the most part, games are at least fun. If they're fun, I will enjoy them. They don't have to look the best, they don't have to sound the best or play the best, but as long as they're fun and the game play is enjoyable, I will like it and approve of it. Now, however, usually I can nitpick if I need to. Honestly, with any game I can say, well, I didn't like this or I didn't like this. But to say I don't like the way something looks, or I don't like the way that these characters are built, or whatever, I don't like the story, whatever it is, there's always going to be something you don't like about things. These games aren't made specifically for you. Yes, they are targeted towards you as a gamer, but you won't always get what you want. And that's one thing that I find kind of annoying, is when people are like, hey, I don't like this, oh, blah, blah. They just complain, and that's all you see. You never see positivity, and that's one thing that I hate. And honestly, this video is talking bad about people that are negative all the time, which is kind of funny because I try to be positive, and this video is probably going to come across more as a rant. And usually I am positive about things, but right now I'm just fed up with people saying, I don't like the way that looks, I don't like the way it feels, or the soundtrack, or the gameplay, or blah 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 blah. It's all they complain about. They never talk about what is good. I understand how things are, you're not gonna like everything, but I look back to the last two things that Nintendo has done, and that is their Nintendo Direct and their Pokemon Nintendo Direct, and they were both good, enjoyable content. Honestly, let's go back to the first one. The first Nintendo Direct, where they said, hey, we're remaking Link's Awakening on the Game Boy for the Switch, and I was like, this is gonna be rad, I'm stoked, everything about that game is fun, these graphics look kind of cool, there's something we're not used to, but there's something new and refreshing about it. Well, not 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20, 30 minutes later, people are just destroying it on Twitter, and I'm like, what is wrong? Why are people not getting this? And then I read through and I'm like, they don't like the graphics. Okay, the graphics aren't gonna be for everyone. There's always gonna be a graphic style that you're gonna like better, unless it's your favorite graphic style, and then you're like, well, I love this thing and I won't talk bad about it. But people complain way too much. I'm like, this is gonna be an awesome game, because think about it this way. Kids just getting into video games, they're playing Nintendo Switches. If they're playing Nintendo Switches, they probably have never played a Game Boy game before, let alone Zelda, which is probably a big deal, unless they played Breath of the Wild, which is on the Switch. But this is a different kind of Zelda, just because Breath of the Wild was so new and refreshing, and honestly is my favorite game, period. But we're not getting into that. This is a new way to get kids and new gamers onto this. I think the graphics are going to be cool. I think it's going to play into it. And I also would like to remind you that when Wind Waker came out, people did the exact same thing. And now look back at how Wind Waker is. Look how great it is. Besides that, we're going to move back to the Nintendo Direct that was about Pokemon. People complained about this. They literally talked for 7 minutes about it. Showed you a little bit about it, showed you what the graphics are going to look like, showed you the main 3 Pokemon that you start with, and people still managed to find a way to complain. Oh, well, these characters are too simple. Well, if you go back through previous editions, starter Pokemon are relatively simple. But there's more. You're not getting the evolutions, so you don't know what these things turn into. That could very well make this game, and people are already judging it. Like they say, don't judge a book by its cover. I think this is a prime example right here. But moving on, people are entitled. Gamers are entitled, and it's worse and worse every generation. Nowadays, it's always, well, does it play 4K, 60 frames per second? Does that matter if the game sucks? Take a new game like Anthem. I haven't played it myself, I will let you know that beforehand. I've heard things like, it's just okay. I've heard things, it's great. But it looks graphically good. Think about Fortnite. Its graphics aren't anything special, and it is a huge seller right now. So I think people need to take a step back and say, okay, where do I care about these games? Where and what makes these games enjoyable for me? Is it the beautiful world? Which, don't get me wrong, if games have a beautiful world, that is awesome, and I enjoy that. But if the gameplay sucks and the music sucks, it's like you wasted too much time on that when you could have spent more time on this and made this game decent or at least enjoyable. And so I will say, I find a lot of issues with people being entitled. They complain way too much. And as a gamer myself, I love to play games. If you've watched this channel, you probably know that I do love to play games. I have plenty of games behind me. I'm not just collecting them to put them on the shelf. I like to play them. Over here, I have a CRT setup where I like to play games, not only for this channel, but for my personal enjoyment. I will say, games can be bad. I'm not disagreeing that games can be bad. But I am disagreeing on the fact that you decided, well, not you necessarily, an entitled gamer decided that they said this game's gonna suck because it's 8 months in advance and I've only seen 5 minutes worth of clips. That's just me complaining, but I want you guys to know that if I offended you, I am sorry. I am not pointing this towards you. Just kind of the gamer as a whole. Gamers care too much about things that don't necessarily matter. Make the gameplay good. Make it look decent. Make it sound awesome. Make it fun. Fun is what matters. Not that it has 60 frames per second. That it is shot in 4K and all that stuff. Honestly, I want to play a fun game. So, if you guys are watching this far, comment down below and let me know. Say, hey, this is what I've seen and this is what I like or do not like. With that being said, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. You know how it goes. All the description has the links down below. Check that out if you're interested. Whatever. If you're interested in more videos, go ahead and subscribe. If not, no worries. With that, make sure you have a good day.